All right, we are fresh from day 4 49ers training camp. And unfortunately, today was kind of defined by injuries more than anything else. So we'll talk about that. Jennings, a little dinged up. We got an update on Renardo Green, and we had a scare today of a situation of a player getting carted off and all that stuff. So we'll talk about what had happened there and kind of give you the inside look of what I had saw. And we'll talk a little bit about some good things too. Ricky Pearsall returned to practice today. Brock Purdy back at quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. And we'll talk about some of the biggest takeaways from day 4 of 49ers training camp right now. But you guys already know what to do. Drop an SDS in the chat. Smash that like button. Let's get into it all right now. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. All right, guys. As we mentioned, the day before pads, no Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams out there today. My assumption is keeping those guys fresh for pads that are going to start going tomorrow. But unfortunately, we did have some injury situations pop up. Jennings dealing with the calf injury, apparently. He had to leave practice today. The big concern there is him dealing, or basically in the midst of a contract negotiation. One of the reasons why players do typically hold out is, because of injuries or the potential of them. So we don't know what the severity is, but I would be kind of surprised to see Jennings back out there. If they are truly planning on getting a deal done, I would imagine that they would want to make sure that they get that shored up before anything had happened. So we'll see. I see someone talking about Keenan Allen in the chat. I would love for Keenan Allen to join the team. Obviously, one of my favorite players, but there were some standouts at wide receiver. I'll talk about those guys coming up. But let's get through some of the injury updates. I think the most concerning injury right now is Renardo Green. So he was having a great day of practice last Friday, and he had a really nice PBU on a play to Jennings, and he came down gimpy. It sounds like he has a hamstring injury, and according to Kyle Shanahan, he won't be able to return until around preseason against the Raiders. And as a result of that, the 49ers had 3 players out, all DBs, trying out today after practice. I didn't recognize any of them. So we'll see. I'm sure that will be reported a little bit later of who the 49ers had tried out. But it does indicate that, unfortunately, Renardo Green's injury is a little bit more serious than what I was hopeful for, just it being a little situation. But it does sound like he's going to be out a couple weeks. So we'll see about that. And then the scariest thing that went down today was Teron Jackson having to get carted off the field and taken to the hospital. So I had actually witnessed the situation play out. It looked like Teron Jackson was going up against Isaac Alsorn. And Isaac had, it looked like a really good pancake block. So I don't know. So, I don't know if they tripped or whatever, but Isaac ended up, bending Teron Jackson backwards. And my assumption is that Teron had kind of whiplashed his head into the ground and appeared to be unconscious. So it was a pretty scary situation. You could see that Isaac was concerned right out of the gate when he stood up, and they brought the medical staff over, did all their things, put him on the stretcher, carted him off, took him to Stanford. According to Kyle Shanahan, he's conscious and has movement in all his extremities. So I would imagine they're being cautious with him. But again, good sign that he was awake and being able to move. So, but again, just a scary situation when you see it play out on the field. Always tough to kind of get back into that mindset of getting back out there and making plays and all that good stuff. I'm going to give you guys the kicker update today or right now, because I realized in my video that I do directly after camp, I forgot to give you the update. I'm going to go ahead and put the blame on my beautiful wife over here, who made it to her first training camp practice today. But she was off to the side watching me do the video, and she's making me really nervous because she's so pretty. And I forgot to give you the kicker update. So the kicker update is Moody went 3 for 4, and Joseph went 4 for 4. So today, on Friday, Joseph went 2 for 4. Today, Joseph was perfect, and Moody was the same as last week. Missed both of the longer kicks, and so the interesting thing with Moody's miss that I do think is noteworthy was that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch were hovering over these guys, like almost to just noticeably put the pressure on them. Like, obviously they're going back and forth doing their kicks, and John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, Robert Saleh, Brant Boyer, they're all just right there watching everything that's going on. And you could tell it's like, all right, they're simulating pressure, right? Obviously, you've got all the players, all the everyone watching, but right there is Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, and Kyle said something to Jake Moody. I don't know what he said, but he went over, he said something to Jake Moody. Jake Moody had one more kick. It was the longest kick of the session, and Jake Moody missed it. So take that for what it's worth. Again, I don't know what that means, but obviously it's a lot of pressure when you're in the midst of a competition. Everyone knows you're in a competition. Everyone's watching it. Everyone's staring at it. And Kyle said something, and then Jake missed it, and you're just like, dang, that's brutal. For how that played out, and like I mentioned, Joseph made all of his kicks today, which was an improvement over going 2 and 4 on Friday. Which was an improvement over going 2 and 4. Wow. My wife's trying to watch the live while I'm live, throwing me off my game. But anyways, back to the regular scheduled programming. There is some good news, so I want to get to that. Ricky Pearsall returned to practice today, and it's good to see. Wearing number 1, honestly, kind of weird to see him rocking the Uno, but he made his presence felt. I guess I'll start by saying that Ricky was involved as a punt returner. Him and Jordan Watkins look like they're going to be slated for potential punt return duties. And so it was good to see Ricky back. But in his first catch in team period, he came away with a touchdown. So that was cool to see. Good to see Ricky back in action, making plays. He also had another catch on the day. Brock Purdy hitting him across the middle. Brock kind of put it on his back shoulder. So Ricky had to make an adjustment on the ball. Still brought it in, but went to the ground. But overall, decent day for the return of Ricky Pearsall. So good for him. Again, a guy that I've highlighted as one of the bigger surprises of training camp so far is wide receiver Russell Gage Jr. Honestly, wasn't high on my radar of guys that I thought was going to stand out at the wide receiver position, but he's continued with his fourth solid practice. He had a touchdown today. So he had a touchdown. It was kind of in the left flat in red zone period. Keep in mind, the Ricky Pearsall touchdown was also in red zone period. So they're about 8 to 10 yards away from the touchdown marker. So Russell Gage has been kind of a surprise. So we'll see how he continues to progress. But you also had an Isaac Renardo touchdown. Mac Jones going through his progressions and then finds Isaac right over the middle for a nice touchdown. Gav says Braden Willis sighting. Yeah, unfortunately, the only sighting I had from Braden Willis was a drop. So not as good of a day for Braden as he had on Friday. But while we're on the tight ends, first time I noticed Luke Farrell today. Luke Farrell had back-to-back catches in team period. So from Brock Purdy, both of those from Brock. So I really hadn't noticed much from him the first 3 days, but he had back-to-back catches today. So Luke Farrell getting in the mix. The 49ers signed him in free agency. So that one was good to see. I saw Cephas get involved on a catch over the middle. Brock attempted to hit Equanimous St. Brown on a deep pass over the middle. Overthrew him a little bit. I haven't seen Brock really connect on anything super deep. He's connected on some deep stuff. I would say intermediate to deep, not deep go ball territory. The stuff that he's hit from range have typically been towards the sideline. Still waiting for Brock to hit a go ball or a post of some sort. But again, with him and Equanimous St. Brown, Equanimous has been here for what? 4 days. So that's nothing crazy to me. Those guys are going to have to build up that rapport and how that all works. So nothing crazy there. I saw Dwelly get involved. Tonjes got involved. I think about it. Probably not a lot of Kittle today. So feels like they're getting prepared for pads to come on tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to be a fun one. I think the energy is going to be really high tomorrow for sure. So we'll see how that goes. One of the nicer passes today was a deep in-breaking route. It's probably like a crosser from Mac Jones to Isaiah Hodgins. I think it was the best play Hodgins has made all of training camp. Mac Jones dropped back. It was a little bit of a longer developing play, but Mac put a dime on Isaiah, hit Isaiah Hodgins in stride, and again, can't really tell, if he would have been tackled or not, but he ran all the way to the end zone, and the fact that he was hit in stride, I think he would have had a chance if they were actually tackling. So it was a good play by Hodgins, good catch, good throw, and a potential touchdown, but a little bit of an asterisk on that one. A player who stood out to me was number 35, Flowers. I gotta look up his first name, to be honest with you. Um, but he had a really nice PBU today. It looked like it was going to be a bit of a layered throw over his head, but he got really high up, and he's got some length, and he was just reached up with one hand and went and got this really nice PBU. Like I said, it was pretty impressive because it was pretty good ball placement, but he extended, he got really high up in the air, and he batted it down. Uh, Dallas Flowers, yeah, that guy. Um, he was getting some run with Renardo being out, and I was impressed. I was impressed by that play, and his coach was hyped too. They were all hyped about it. So Flowers is a guy that I'm going to keep an eye on as training camp continues. With the Renardo Green injury, sounds like Renardo is going to be out a couple weeks. So this Flowers guy, um, again, no disrespect to him, new to the team, still learning some of these guys' names, but he stood out to me. Chaz Surratt had a really nice PBU. Chaz just looks solid in coverage. He really gives me some Fred vibes. I'm not saying he's Fred. I'm just saying, like, we know that when Fred is in coverage, Fred's going to be clamps. And so far, there's 2 reps that have stood out in training camp where Chaz Surratt has been really solid in coverage. Um, Today he gets a PBU out of it, so he's been nice. It looked like D Winters is kind of moving himself up the depth chart. So D Winters was, from my recollection, out there with the ones with Fred Warner. So, which is good because Gifford actually got the first go on day one. So I think it's just more indicative of the battle for that Dre Greenlaw replacement. But D Winters is clearly in the mix for that. Tatum Bethune looks like he's in the mix as well, and we'll see. I'm actually pretty pleased with the early returns from the linebackers: Nick Martin, Chaz Surratt, uh, Stone Blanton, even Jalen Graham. All the 49ers young linebackers, they look hungry and they're flying around. So been excited about what I've seen from them. Saran Neal had an interception to end practice today on Tanner Mordecai. Tanner Mordecai hasn't been that great. He's had a pick, I think, every day in team period, which, they haven't been good interceptions. Like, they've just been not. You can have some interceptions where you're like, oh, that's just a better play by the DB, but these just haven't been good throws, good reads um, that he's thrown these picks on. So Mac Jones is locked in as your quarterback too, and yeah. So overall, still kind of a light day. I think, again, the 49ers were focused on getting through today healthy. Unfortunately, they had a couple injuries pop up. We'll see how it goes in regards to Jennings. Obviously, the situation with Renardo is unfortunate. I would assume they're going to be signing a cornerback here before tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that news. But overall, it was a decent practice. Again, nothing has compared to day 2 yet. Day 2 still is the gold standard of non-padded training camp practices through 4 days. But overall, not bad. So tomorrow is going to be the day. Tomorrow is where I start to focus on the trenches more. I'm going to start looking at guys like Alfred Collins, C.J. West. Start looking at that offensive line, Nick Zakel. I've been pretty impressed with Nick Zakel. So that's a guy that I want to see. Ben Barch looks like he's pretty close to returning as well. Matt Hennessy is a guy that I want to pay attention to when pads come on. And you've had a lot of Spencer Burford at left tackle. So I'm excited to really start to focus on the D-line. Bryce Huff, Sam Okiwanu, all those guys. And see how the battle in the trenches really starts to form. See who continues to take steps forward at the wide receiver position, because now cornerbacks can get their hands on them a little bit more, and see how that goes. And it's also going to be good for the linebackers and running backs, guys who can thud a little bit more than they've been able to. So excited to see what tomorrow brings. Pads comes on tomorrow. Make sure you got your post notifications on. We're going to go get some sushi now. I'm out for now. Peace.
Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it.